Well, hello and welcome to Old People This Week. My name is Jeff, and that gentleman, the Montana cowbuster himself, that's Mike. Good morning, Mike.
Good morning, Jeff. Wait for it. You mentioned the word Montana requires the Lone Star Hatter's custom-made 100% beaver felt cowboy hat
Yes, with a horsehair
with a
trim.
horsehair hat band hand braided by convicts in Bozeman, Montana.
Old People This Week is a podcast for whip smart 60-year-old people and above. If all you want to talk about is walk-in tubs or mobility scooters, or if you don't understand what an emoji is, which by the way is a question that came up in this month's AARP magazine. Do you know what an emoji is? If that's what you want to talk about, this is probably not the place for you. We want to talk about more important things like Nicole Smith, Kim Kardashian, movie stars who dance, and of course naked cruises.
Speaking of walk-in tubs, though, so you walk in, you sit down, you close the door. Hopefully it's a waterproof seal, a watertight seal. And then you turn the water on until the water rises to chin height. Then you take your bath, and then you have to sit in the tub until it completely drains. Otherwise you couldn't walk out of it.
Yeah, I don't know. I've never seen one before, but they look. I don't take baths, by the way. I take showers.
Seems like an oxymoron to sit in the same water you're using to wash all the grime off your body.
Don't tell that to my wife. She bathes. Please subscribe. If you subscribe, Mike and I will treat you to a happy hour appetizer and drink at a bar of our choice, of course. And I want to make sure you understand that's happy hour drink and happy hour appetizer, not after 5 and this deal goes away.
We're very frugal.
Yeah. Please send us an email to oldpeoplethisweek@gmail.com. We love getting your emails, send a video, send anything, send comments. And by the way, we got our first disparaging comment this past week. It was in regard to our story on Governor Kristi Noem and her late dog, Cricket. Mike, what did Kristi Noem's daughter say when she came home?
Mom, where's Cricket? Unbelievable.
But this viewer who saw that, his or her name or his handle was MTHXR. And I've been saying that, I'm hoping it's not like IP Daily where you think you're saying one thing and it's actually means something else. But this person said of that piece we did, clickbait garbage. Now, I don't know if they were referring to Kristi Noem being garbage or us being garbage, or the whole idea that only reason we did it was for clickbait, which was probably true. I mean, why else? Why else we're doing?
Why else is it up there?
Yeah. But at any rate, sorry that bugged you, Mr. MTHXR. The story in itself amazes me because she keeps, meaning the governor, keeps doubling down as though killing Cricket is a testament to her, common sense and her ability to lead.
Yeah, I was particularly amused at her reference to the fact that Cricket attacked a flock of chickens, and the governor describes that as attacking and threatening livestock.
Yeah.
I grew up on a ranch. Chickens weren't livestock. Chickens were chickens. Horses and cattle were livestock.
It's just cruel and stupid. And also, as a politician, she's an idiot. That's not going to help at all. We got another comment from a viewer whose handle is Stuff, and he or she said, why isn't she, again referring to Kristi Noem, been arrested for animal cruelty? And I think it's because of what you said, Mike. She claims that there's a law in North Dakota that states that an owner can put down an animal that attacks or kills livestock. So she justifies it by the fact that when she opened the car door, Cricket jumped out, chased the chickens around, and so to her that was aberrant and obsessively violent behavior, and she had to be put down.
Yeah, those kinds of predator laws typically apply to wolves and coyotes and things that kill newborn calves and things like that. I,
Yeah.
I think it's a real stretch to apply it to a wire-haired terrier who killed a
Plus,
chicken.
some nut like Noam, once she gets killing in her head, like, oh, I can kill this dog, who knows what's next?
Well, it's like we said last week. I hope her husband doesn't piss her off at some point.
I've never seen a picture of him. He's probably buried next to Cricket. By the way, they did the skit they did on Saturday Night Live this weekend. They had a person dressed up as a dog and purporting to be the next dog in line for Christy Noam, and this dog was feared for his or her life because she didn't want to piss Christy Noam off. You should check out our Substack, 52tasks.substack.com. Last week we talked about mentoring someone, meaning taking time from your own busy schedule to help someone else get along in the world. And this week, Mother's Day is on Sunday, so we're going to talk about our dear sainted mothers. My mom, whose name was Betty, subscribed to the Spare the Rod, Spoil the Child School of Parenting, and her rod was a piece of wood about a foot long, about a half-inch thick, that she kept on top of the refrigerator. And if we misbehaved, she'd say, "Go get me the stick." At which point, my brother and I would light out, head outside, or get as far away from her as we could.
Well, you were too short to reach the top of the refrigerator. How could you get
Wow.
the stick?
It was more psychological. Just when the word stick came out of her mouth, we were already covering our asses and running. Anyway, I know your mom was like a concert pianist or something.
Oh yeah, no, she would not jeopardize her fingers to apply any discipline, but that was delegated to my father, who was quite good at it.
Yeah, I bet. Your mom, what about her mom's feet, though? She could have used her foot, put it up your behind if she was pissed off. And I know you must have pissed her off every once in a while.
Regularly.
Yeah.
Regularly. No, the only way you learn is to do things you're not supposed to do. You don't know. When you're a kid, you don't know.
Yeah,
So
just
somebody
ask
else.
Cricket. Cricket learned the hard way. Yeah, you wouldn't want Christy Noam for your mom. An armed and strapped woman with a hairpin, triggered anger issues. You don't want her as a mom. First story we're going to talk about is, you sent it to me just this morning, and I read it when I was out walking with my dog, by the way, who pisses me off, but not enough for me to try to shoot him, about the Tom Brady roast that was on Netflix this past weekend. It pissed off a lot of people. You were referring to how Kim Kardashian got booed during her 3 minutes, but Giselle, his former wife, was pissed off because she didn't like the way that she came off in this thing. And then Brady was pissed off when one of the comedians made fun of Robert Kraft, who was the owner of the Patriots and who was very close to Brady. And so Brady went up and said something curt to the writer comedian who goofed on him.
Yeah, he brought up, made a reference to Kraft's conviction or arrest. I don't know if he was ever actually convicted for frequenting a massage parlor or some damn thing.
Yeah. Here's a guy, a multi-billionaire, goes to a cheap inner city massage parlor when he's, to get his rocks off. But Kim came up there, and I don't know why they invited her. This is not a place or a venue or an occasion to invite a reality star who has no comedic sense whatsoever, and not that close to Brady evidently either. But she came up there and gamely, I'll say that for her, tried to do 3 minutes of comedy, but it didn't go over well, and she got booed. Kim actually made a funny joke when she said, "I would never date Tom Brady because he has these high cheekbones. He's an athlete, and he looks a lot like my stepfather, Caitlyn Jenner. It's not bad.
Not bad.
So I'll give her credit for actually going through with it. She got booed off the stage, and what do you got?
Yeah.
So I also saw that the AARP, the AARP people, this month on the cover is Brooke Shields. But I found out that, or they bragged and made a big deal about it in the magazine, that they are, as they said, sponsoring this month's Rolling Stone tour. And I thought that's pretty crazy. The AARP is sponsoring the Stones tour. But then I read about it, and what it is, so the Rolling Stones approached AARP the way they put it, and they said, oh, you can help sponsor this tour this summer. Well, what they got out of it was a kiosk on a concourse. So if you're going to the Stones concert this summer somewhere, and you're on the concourse and you're heading into the arena, there will be a bunch of small kiosks and for selling T-shirts, all kind of whatever they sell there. And one of them will be AARP. And at the AARP kiosk, you can go in and you can buy some merch, they said, some AARP Stones merch, or get your picture taken in front of a green screen with one of the Stones in the backdrop. So that's, and then the other thing was they said, oh, and there was on the screen before the concert starts, there's going to be, there'll be AARP signage. So it's really not, big. It's not that big of a deal that they're, but the real thing is I mean, I get it, but I don't understand why they think that we, meaning aging people, are interested only in things that are in people or in bands or in movies or actors, whoever, that are the same age as us or older. Stones are fine, but they're in their 80s. I don't listen to the Stones anymore. I'd rather talk about Taylor Swift, or I listened to Devo today on my walk from the 80s. But I mean, I don't listen to the Stones anymore. I don't know, but their whole premise is, and the same reason as they have Miss Shields on the cover, is because she's just turning 50 or 60, and so they think that that's what we're interested in, the stories of people our age, when I'm interested in stories of people who are younger. Anywho. In the other, sort of movie celebrity news, I should say, Kevin Bacon returned to the high school where he shot Footloose back in 1984, because this high school, it was Payson High School in Utah, was having their prom, and they thought it would be incredibly fun and cool if they could convince Bacon to come out for the prom and to celebrate the, I guess it's the 40th anniversary of the making of the movie. He was 25 when they shot it. Now he's 65, so he had the 40th anniversary. Yeah. So they convinced him to do it using social media. They got through to him, and he flew out to Utah and went to the school. He did not go to the prom, by the way. He went earlier in the day, and they had a rally at the gym for him.
Yeah.
But he did show up.
Yeah, I thought that was very cool. And I think it was, I think one of the motivations was the school they're either building a new school or that one was going to be shut down and remodeled or something. So it was kind of a landmark for the facility as well. But it was kind of cool.
Yeah. Well, they are. They're tearing down that school. They're building a new high school, and one of the things they're going to take from the old high school and put into the new high school is the locker that Bacon used while filming the movie.
Very cool. Yeah, I love that.
Now that got me thinking about other stars who got famous by dancing in the movies. In particular, I was thinking of John Travolta and Patrick Swayze, who, was sort of I don't know what he wasn't really an action star, though he was in Roadhouse. That I'm going to refer to in a few minutes. But Swayze danced in Dirty Dancing and became a huge star. And John Travolta in Urban Cowboy. What was the name of that famous bar Gillies with the mechanical bull, by the way. And that after that movie came out, that fad spread, and up on Sunset Strip in Los Angeles, at some country western bar that they used to be up there, they put one of those mechanical bulls in there, and I went there with a bunch of buddies. We all got off work. We went over there and rode the bull. They really, the guys that operated it really got their jollies off by putting some rube on there like me and then making it, whoa. Speaking of Patrick Swayze, as we were a second ago, he starred in a movie called Roadhouse back in the 80s, and they remade it with Jake Gyllenhaal, and it was on, not Netflix, it was on Amazon Prime or one of those stations recently, and I watched it. My wife wouldn't watch it, so I had to wait till she was out of the house, and I watched it. And it was basically a beatdown. It starts with him beating on someone, and it ends with him beating on a number of people. And in between, more beatings. The bad guy in this version wasn't the club owner. The club owner is actually a black woman, and she had gone looking for him because she needed a bouncer. The bad guy was some guy who wanted to get control. The way he was going to try to get control was by sending in thugs to start fights there and stuff, and then the cops were going to, had to constantly be there, and there was a whole idea that they could force her to sell this, and so she got Swayze in to solve the thug issue. Colin McGregor, the fighter, he played the heavy. And he was scary because this dude you can look at and you'd say he could really pound the crap out of you. Jake Gyllenhaal was probably, thinking, what have I gotten myself into? This guy will break me in half. But speaking of Gyllenhaal, who I like a lot, I think he's a great actor, one of my all-time favorite books was Presumed Innocent by Scott Turow. And it's a murder mystery. And it's one of the only books that I can say that I actually did not figure out who was the killer until the last page. I mean, there was clues enough, and it was really well constructed, well written book, and as you got through it, and all of a sudden you turned onto the last page, and you went, oh, you might have figured it in your head, but it was great. It was good. Well, they're remaking Presumed Innocent. Well, but first it became a movie with Harrison Ford, and the co-starred the woman who played Bruce Willis's wife in Die Hard, Belinda something, and now they're remaking it with Gyllenhaal, like a 7-parter on Netflix, which will be great. I mean, it was really a good novel, and a 2-hour movie with Harrison Ford couldn't get into all the stuff that the book got into, so a 7-parter with Gyllenhaal is going to be great. So I'm psyched up. I wanted to bring up, I saw, on Monday, I saw a picture that was taken at the Kentucky Derby of Anna Nicole Smith's daughter, Dannielynn Birkhead, who was with her dad, Larry. And every year, Larry Birkhead brings Dannielynn to the Kentucky Derby, and they have a photo op, and then they vanish for another year. Now, why is that important to me? Because I was the creator and executive producer of the Anna Nicole reality show, so I knew Anna pretty well. And the situation surrounding the birth of Dannielynn was typically, like a train wreck. It's like everything else in Anna's life, where she got pregnant, and who was she pregnant with, and who was the father, and she claimed it was her lawyer, Howard K. Stern, but Larry Birkhead, who was a photographer that I hired, by the way, to come and do some unit photography of Anna on a shoot we did, met Anna. They started dating, and there was always a lot of drama with Anna about who she was dating, and she was very fickle, and just a few weeks after, well, maybe not a few weeks, a few months after she started dating Birkhead, she dumped him and then didn't want him around. In order to keep him away, she tried everything, moving, try to legally keep him away. And he claimed he was the father. Howard and her went to the Bahamas to have the baby. So, because in the Bahamas, you can control whose name is on the birth certificate. Yeah, so she was able to write on the birth certificate that the father was Howard K. Stern. Anna dies a few weeks after Dannielynn's born. Birkhead kept up the pressure and finally got a court to agree with him to get a DNA test. And sure enough, he was the dad. And then he got custody of Dannielynn, and I was sort of worried because I thought that this Birkhead, who I never, I didn't really know, and I just thought was taking advantage of Anna in the first place. I thought he's going to just exploit this daughter, but instead it was the opposite. He took her to Kentucky, where his parents were, and and he brings her out once a year to the Kentucky Derby, and she seems well adjusted and normal and nice, and I felt that was that's a good thing. A company called Agridime had raised $191 million in a Ponzi scheme. It would sell investors beef calves. So they'd call you up and they'd say, hey, want to sell you some beef calves for $2,000 each. And for each one you buy, we'll buy back at the higher price in 1 year. And the pitch was, you can become part of providing fellow Americans with the highest quality farm fresh beef available. Only problem was the company sold more beef than they actually had. They only had enough cattle to impress people who actually were going to show up and check it out. So it would look like they had a big cattle farm, but they didn't have all that they said they would. So consequently, they were using some of the money they were taking in to pay off the early investors, and of course, the later investors were getting screwed. They couldn't get their money back, and that was that.
Yeah, no, it was all window dressing Ponzi scheme from the get-go. And even in their promotional materials, they said this deal is too good to be true.
Yeah, I read that. If something says that, then you should take it
Please.
seriously.
Don't answer your phone.
They ought to just pass a law. After you turn 60, don't invest in anything. Don't give anybody any money, unless they're family. Don't take any phone calls. Don't answer any emails. Take everything as though it's a scheme to try to. We've said this before. Our generation of people, or the greatest generation of people that there ever was in the history of the world. The other generations don't want to hear that, but we are and were. But we somehow have turned stupid after we've turned 60, and our generation has become a complete bunch of doddering, scared, easy to exploit people, and that pisses me off.
Lonely is the hook.
Well, if you're lonely, then that leads to our last story here, is these naked cruises. Big Nude boat offers trip to Paradise on a naked cruise. The way this article said was, like to travel light, one cruise ship soon to set sail from Florida, is making sure all you need are the bare necessity, no shoes, no clothes, but plenty of service. The Big Nude boat will take passengers from Miami to the Caribbean on an 11-day adventure to Paradise. The website says, setting sail from February 3rd to Valentine's Day 2025, so we got plenty of time to sign up, Mike. The trip offers a stress-free, clothes-free experiences during which up to 2,300 passengers can roam the ship in the nude while out to sea. You have got to be kidding me. It's not like the nudists the women all look like, like Jennifer Lopez, and all the men look like Jake Gyllenhaal. They're not. They're old, saggy, messed up looking people. Why would I want to spend with 2,300 of them naked? Ugh. So the rules they have killed me too. Passengers won't be allowed to be naked when the ship is docked. They can ditch their usual attire once they're anchored or out in the water. And when clothing is optional, standard nudity etiquette, by the way, I don't know if you knew this, there's standard nudity etiquette. When sitting, nude passengers must either wear a thong or sit on a towel or some kind of fabric. And while the self-serve buffet on the pool deck is a clothes-free area, so mind you, you're now mingling on a buffet with a bunch of naked people. Passengers must be dressed for all dining room meals, and no, bathrobes don't count. So for whatever reason, they don't mind if while you're eating at the buffet if you're naked, but once you go into the dining room, you have to wear clothes. I don't even like seeing myself naked. Why would I think that other people would want to? Like a nude beach, I get, because you might get out there, and if you feel surrounded, you can jump in the water, you could just leave. But on that cruise ship, you're not going anywhere. So when you look on at Christmas time, when you open up that envelope from me, there'll be a ticket in there for you and Mary to go out the nude cruise.
I'll have to go on the website and buy a couple of used Kardashian thongs.
She sells used nude thongs, used thongs. All right. Anyways, thank you, Mike. It was good seeing you as always. You have a great rest of the week. Don't invest in any fatted calves. Don't go near any nude boats, and don't answer the phone. Take care. Adios. Talk to you later.